the hidden 30-second Jewish prayer that quietly closes the door on debt forever. Listen carefully, my dear brother and sister. At this very moment, I ask you to pause whatever you are doing. Stop the wandering thoughts. Put the endless scrolling on hold, because what I am about to share with you may be the last moment in your life when you ever feel the need to lower your head, type a message, or make a phone call asking someone for money. I am not exaggerating. I am speaking about a deep shift that begins at the root level of your life, starting with the words that leave your mouth in the very first 30 seconds of a new day. Think back to the last time you had to borrow money. Remember how your heart beat faster, how your fingers shook as you typed the message, deleted it, rewrote it, and stared at the screen. That long, heavy breath you took before finally pressing send. That quiet question in your mind asking, "Why am I here again? Why does this keep happening to me?" In that single breath, in those same 30 seconds, you could have spoken an ancient Jewish prayer from beginning to end. This prayer carries the power to firmly shut the gate of debt and open the door to abundance, unexpected provision, and near miraculous breakthroughs. What is shocking is how short it is. If you already knew it, you could say the entire prayer in the same amount of time it takes to inhale deeply before asking someone for a loan. Just 3 short lines. No complicated rituals, no candles, no vows, no fasting for days, no secret symbols. Just 3 sentences spoken at the right time of day, repeated with consistency that slowly reshape your relationship with money at the deepest level of your mind and spirit. If starting today you choose to learn this prayer and commit to saying it every morning before touching your phone, before checking your bank balance, before the fear of not enough rushes in, then I can tell you from everything I have seen that the flow of provision will begin to turn toward you. And when I say provision, I do not mean sitting still waiting for money to magically fall from the sky. I mean doors opening that you never expected, a phone call from someone you did not plan to hear from, a side opportunity arriving at the exact moment you need it, a collaboration or idea that changes your direction, one simple conversation that completely alters your financial situation. Imagine waking up each morning no longer thinking, "I am short again today, I have to struggle again today." Instead, imagine starting your day with the quiet confidence of saying, "Today, I am a vessel for supply." Picture those 3 a.m. nights filled with anxiety slowly fading away. No more avoiding people because of shame. No more lying awake wondering who you will borrow from next or what story you will have to make up so it hurts less. Please hear me clearly. That cycle can end right here, right now, if you're willing to choose it. I speak with certainty because I do not only study ideas, I have watched real people experience this change. Hardworking men and women just like you. Single parents, office employees, small business owners, people who needed to borrow $500, $300, sometimes even just $100 every single month to survive. Rent, school fees, electricity, water. They lived under pressure, embarrassment, and confusion. Many believed they were simply not meant to prosper. But by practicing this 30-second prayer correctly and staying faithful to it, they slowly became people who no longer needed loans at all. In time, some even became the ones helping others who were trapped in the same cycle they once lived in. There was no lottery win, no surprise inheritance, no empty miracle stories where money appears from nowhere. What changed everything was a new habit that seemed small at first. A brief prayer spoken at the right moment, with the right mindset. For 7 days, then 21 days, then 40 days. I have personally walked alongside more than a dozen people like this. They were not lazy. They were not careless. They were stuck in a hidden trap. The more they borrowed, the more dependent they became. The more dependent they felt, the weaker they believed themselves to be. And the weaker they felt, the easier it became to ask again. This cycle feeds itself unless something interrupts it at the root. Please understand this clearly. What I am sharing with you is not a made-up internet story. This is not just another motivational message you listen to and forget. For more than 3,000 years, from generation to generation, many wealthy Jewish families have quietly passed down prayers and principles about money, honor, and provision. They do not advertise it. They do not boast about it on television. But the results speak silently and powerfully. A significant portion of the world's wealth exists in the hands of those who understand and apply these principles. Pause and think about that. How does a community that has faced wars, exile, discrimination, and loss of property repeatedly rise again? How do they rebuild wealth, restore financial flow, and establish businesses, banks, and institutions over and over? Is it pure luck, or are they living by laws the rest of the world was never taught? One of the most important principles is this: using the mouth to declare provision instead of using it to beg, borrow, or reduce oneself. In ancient texts like the Babylonian Talmud, especially in discussions related to vows and obligations, the connection between speech, borrowing, and divine supply is explained with surprising clarity. Later scholars, including Maimonides, emphasized something profound. Financial dignity is not reserved for a special group. It is a right connected to anyone willing to stand upright and use their voice with authority. When you open your mouth to ask for money, it feels like a temporary solution, but on a deeper level, it becomes a statement. I cannot manage my own life. When that statement is repeated often enough, it programs your thoughts, emotions, and even your energy toward dependence. I am not saying this to shame you. I am saying this to offer you hope. If words helped build the chains, then words can also break them. If your mouth helped create a reality of debt, then with that same mouth you can create a reality of provision. The 30-second Jewish prayer I am about to share with you is the first key to unlocking that door. But before I place that key in your hands, I want to know that you are ready. This is not something to try casually. This is about reclaiming your financial dignity. If you are listening to this right now, take a small but meaningful step. Subscribe to the Financial Miracle Prayers channel as a sign of your decision to change your financial direction. Not because the channel needs another subscriber, but because you need a daily reminder that you were not born to live under debt, fear, and dependence. You were created to stand tall in the supply of heaven. In the next part, I will explain exactly what the prayer is, why it takes only 30 seconds yet reaches deep into your subconscious, and how to practice it every morning in a clear and simple way. But for now, ask yourself one honest question. Are you willing to live another year or 3 years or 5 years the same way you are now, with borrowing messages, uncomfortable calls, and sleepless nights? If your heart answers no, then stay here. Commit to this journey. Walk with me and with the Financial Miracle Prayers community, and let this be the moment where everything begins to change. From this moment forward, you are no longer alone in the fight against debt. From here, we begin together, starting with the hidden power carried inside every word you speak each morning. The turning point arrives at daybreak. At the break of day, just 30 seconds can awaken the flow of financial provision. Let me say this plainly and strongly, so it settles deep in your heart the instant you hear it. Every morning when you wake up, you are not only opening your eyes to a new day, you are resetting the financial direction of your entire life. And here is something you must understand. Just 30 seconds each morning, exactly 30 seconds, can place you directly into a current of provision you once believed was reserved only for a fortunate few. Picture this clearly. One morning you open your eyes. Instead of reaching for your phone to check your balance, instead of sighing because bills are waiting, instead of allowing fear to strike before your feet touch the floor, you stand near a window, you let the early light touch your face, and you speak a prayer that lasts no more than 30 seconds. That short prayer is enough to shift the financial direction of your day, your week, and eventually your entire life. I am not trying to impress you with fantasy or illusion. I am sharing what I have personally witnessed. People tightly trapped in cycles of borrowing, 500 here, 300 there. Sometimes only a small amount, but again and again, slowly stood up out of that cycle through one simple habit. They spoke this 30-second Jewish prayer before doing anything else each morning. Notice what is important here. This is not a get-rich-quick idea. It is not a financial trick or a shortcut. It is not empty motivation. It is about aligning your mind, your speech, and your inner energy with the frequency of provision. When that alignment is correct, money begins finding paths to you that you could never plan or predict. Doors open naturally, timing improves, opportunities appear without force. Be ready for this truth. It is simple, but it is powerful enough that once you begin, you will not remain the same person. Before we move further, pause for a moment and ask yourself this. Why does your morning usually begin with pressure? Look honestly at your routine. You wake up, grab your phone, check your balance, feel anxiety rise, tell yourself another day of barely surviving, and within the first few seconds of the day, you lock yourself into worry. Does that sound familiar? Because it happens so often, you may not even notice it anymore. But what you are really doing is programming your mind for lack before the day even starts. Modern brain science confirms this clearly. The brain reacts most strongly to what you think, feel, and say right after waking up. Every word spoken in the morning sends instructions straight into your nervous system, telling your brain whether today you are lacking or supported, powerless or capable, anxious or open to opportunity. And here is the beautiful part. You can completely change those instructions in just 30 seconds. That is why this Jewish prayer has survived for more than 3,000 years. Not because it is mysterious or complicated, but because it directly reaches the psychological, energetic, and spiritual structure of a human being. It speaks to the place where habits are formed and realities begin. Before I share the prayer itself, there is something deeply important you need to know. Successful Jewish families have passed this understanding down for generations. They never allow the first moments of the day to be captured by fear. They do not let their minds activate a scarcity mindset. They do not start the day saying, "Not enough," "Too hard," or "I'm broke." Instead, they practice what can be called a morning declaration of supply. You may think these are just words, but morning words function like commands. If you begin the day with the right command, your life responds accordingly. If you begin with the wrong one, lack finds its way in, not because it is fate, but because it was invited. Please listen closely now. I am not only sharing an idea, I am guiding you into a clear and practical routine that you can use to create change yourself. Remember this truth: what you speak, you begin to see. What you declare, you slowly become. The moment you speak this 30-second prayer in the morning, you send a signal not only to your brain, but to the unseen world around you. That signal says, "I am no longer the one who begs. I am the one who receives." And life responds to that signal. Imagine this moment. You stand by your window as the light touches your face, and you say, "Today I am a channel of abundant supply. Money comes to me without humiliation, without begging. I receive because I am worthy." At that exact moment, something shifts that your eyes cannot see. A door opens. The flow begins to move. Not as instant cash in your hand, but as you becoming the kind of person money is drawn toward. Feel that difference. It is subtle, but it is real. It is the turning point. When you shift from being a requester to being a receiver, you immediately step into a new financial reality. This is why prosperous Jewish families declare instead of complain. This is also why I want you to walk alongside the Financial Miracle Prayers community. Not just to listen, not just to gather information, but to be reminded every day that money does not flow toward fear. It flows toward those who declare. If you have not subscribed to the Financial Miracle Prayers channel yet, do it now as your first act of commitment to yourself. We are building a space for people who are ready to leave borrowing behind and move into provision. In the next part, I will explain why these 3 sentences imprint so deeply into the brain, why they must be spoken at dawn, and how practicing them for 7 days can begin rewriting your financial patterns permanently. Prepare yourself, because from this point on, you will never look at your mornings the same way again. Now listen carefully, because what you are about to hear may land on your soul with the weight of a truth you have avoided for years. Financial struggle, constant tension, and the quiet shame of repeated borrowing are not actually caused by money. That belief is the great deception. Debt is not created by the absence of money. Debt is created by a condition of the spirit. A harmful pattern of speech has been repeated unconsciously for years, maybe even decades. Today, I am exposing that pattern so clearly that you will never speak the same way again. Once you understand this, your financial reality will no longer be allowed to remain stuck. Here is a single truth that has the power to change everything. You were never trapped by your circumstances. You were trapped by your declarations. Every time you said, "I don't have enough," or "I need to borrow," or "I'm short again this month," those words became commands. Your mind followed them, your energy reflected them, and your life produced them. This is the hard but freeing truth. Your mouth has been funding your struggle more than your income ever has. I know that sounds confronting, but stay with me. Because the moment you understand this is often the exact moment everything finally begins to shift. Your words shape your financial identity long before any paycheck ever reaches your hands. And that identity quietly determines where your life will go. This is why asking for money, even when the need feels temporary, leaves a lasting mark on your self-worth. You think you are borrowing money, but what you are really borrowing is helplessness, while slowly handing away a piece of your dignity each time. I want to take you deeper into this truth, because ignoring it will not protect you, but facing it will. Let me tell you about Carolina Mendez, a 38-year-old single mother living in Mexico City. She was hardworking, loyal, and deeply committed to her children, the kind of woman who pushes through exhaustion every day to provide. Yet every single month, she came up short by the same number, always 800. It never changed. She despised borrowing and promised herself again and again that she would never ask for money anymore. But life kept backing her into a corner. Bills showed no mercy, and deadlines did not care about her intentions. With trembling hands and tears she hid from her children, she sent the same message each month. "Can you help me with some money until I get paid?" Each time she pressed send, something inside her went dark. A piece of her dignity cracked, and she felt it deeply. She once told me, with tears running down her face, that it felt like losing a piece of herself every time she had to ask. Her story feels familiar because even if you have never said it out loud, you have felt that same break inside you. That small but painful inner voice that whispers, "You are failing. You can't handle this. You are not enough." No one needs to explain that pain to you because you have lived it. And here is where the truth becomes even more unsettling. A Stanford University study released in 2023 revealed something that should shake anyone awake. A large percentage of people who borrow money repeatedly develop actual neurological patterns of dependency. This is not just emotional or financial, it is literal brain rewiring. The brain begins to depend on outside rescue and quick relief, training itself to believe that someone else will always be the solution. Like any addiction, it becomes hidden, automatic, and destructive. If you have borrowed money more than 3 times in the past year, the likelihood that your brain has already been conditioned toward financial dependency is alarmingly high. This explains why you feel stuck. This explains why no matter how hard you work, you still end up short. This explains why opportunities seem to pass you by. Your mind has been trained to repeat the cycle, and your words have been the code that built it. Now let me take you even deeper, to something ancient wisdom understood long before modern science caught up. The Babylonian Talmud states clearly that the borrower becomes a servant to the lender. This is not symbolic language, it is spiritual law. Borrowing does not only chain your finances, it binds your identity, your self-image, and even your posture in the world. The moment your identity shifts into the one who needs, your life begins organizing itself around that frequency. You may have heard of the law of attraction, but what you were never taught is that it responds more strongly to your words than to your wishes. You can imagine abundance all day and dream of wealth every night. But if your mouth continues speaking lack, you are announcing lack as your authority. This is where Jewish mystics revealed a truth most people never hear. Speaking lack is not describing reality, it is creating it. In the same way, speaking abundance is not pretending, it is activating provision. Words are not just sounds, they are frequencies, and frequencies attract their own environment. This is exactly why the 30-second morning prayer is so powerful. It interrupts years of negative programming and cancels old decrees of scarcity. It redefines your identity at dawn, when your subconscious mind is wide open. When you speak these words in the morning, you are not only praying, you are issuing a declaration, triggering a neurological reset, and aligning your energy with supply. Once your words shift, your life must respond. It cannot remain the same. Consider Roberto Vasquez, a 51-year-old entrepreneur with vision and discipline. Every month, he still borrowed $1,000 just to keep his small business alive. No one trusted him enough to invest, not because he lacked talent or intelligence, but because people instinctively avoid placing long-term faith in someone who constantly needs short-term rescue. Over time, his business collapsed, and so did his confidence. He was living inside a verbal identity of lack without realizing it. If this is touching something uncomfortable inside you, that is a good sign. It means you are becoming aware. Here is the turning point. The prison was built by words, and freedom can be built the same way. You are not cursed or doomed to debt forever. You can break this pattern by changing the very language that created it. That is why this 30-second prayer has survived for over 3,000 years. It rewires the mind and restores identity. This is the moment you stop apologizing for wanting more. The moment you stop explaining why you are short. If you are ready, the next step will show you exactly how the morning declaration rebuilds your self-worth and dismantles dependency. Subscribe to Financial Miracle Prayers as your first spoken commitment to a new identity. Take a deep breath because you are about to encounter one of the most guarded financial principles in history. The wealthiest Jewish families did not rise because of luck. They rose because of a law they never violate. What you declare with your mouth each morning becomes the structure of your financial destiny. This is not a poetic phrase. It is a 3,000-year spiritual technology practiced at dawn by some of the most resilient people on earth. For generations, it has been taught that the first 30 seconds after waking are sacred because the mind is open and unprotected. Whatever enters in those moments becomes the blueprint for life. Jewish tradition warns never to begin the day with fear or complaint because doing so writes scarcity into destiny. Instead, the morning begins with a declaration of provision, not a request, not a plea, a decree spoken with authority. The wealthy program differently before checking phones or bank accounts. They stand in early light and speak prosperity into existence. There is no doubt, no hesitation, only declaration. Financial dignity is a right activated by the mouth through intention. Your mouth is the switch, your words are the current, your morning is the power source. Borrowing forces your speech into weakness. Declaring supply restores authority. This wisdom has sustained families through war, exile, and famine. Neuroscience now confirms that the brain is most receptive during the transition from sleep to waking. Words spoken then imprint deeply, like writing on wet concrete. That is why dawn declarations can transform identity, and identity determines destiny. You cannot rise financially until you break the borrower identity out loud, with clarity and strength. This 30-second prayer cracks the old pattern and plants a new one, reopening the channel of provision. Imagine starting your day declaring that you are a vessel of divine supply and that money comes to you without shame. In doing so, you step into a lineage of power and inheritance. Choose today to turn your mornings into a sacred doorway of transformation.